love for the very funny Mr. Chris Oliver.
I'm Chris Oliver. I'm getting older. I can tell I'm getting older because I've pretty much had every fortune cookie. All just reruns at this point. I went to see my doctor and he told me my cholesterol was too high. Which, you know, it's always been high. I've never really worried about it before. In fact, in the past, when my doctor told me I had high cholesterol, I'd say, look, doc, if my choice is to live 100 years eating kale and wheatgrass, or live 50 years eating barbecue and fried chicken, I'm going to take the 50 years every time. But when you're 47... all of a sudden those 50 years don't seem like such a bargain. Turns out I am not that committed to this prison. It's not so bad getting older. There's actually a lot of things about getting older that I like. I think my favorite thing about getting older is that, you know, you don't have to have a moment of clarity every time you fuck up. You know what I'm talking about? Like if you're 30 and, I don't know, let's say you get drunk before a job interview. The next day you're like, okay, this has got to stop. My life has become unmanageable. From this day forward, no getting drunk before job interviews. Yeah, but if you're 40 and you get drunk before a job interview, the next day you're like, well, that's just me. I'm incorrigible. I think my least favorite part of a job interview is when they ask you, why do you want this job? Because if I'm being honest, you know, I don't. I don't want a fucking job. Do you? I want some job. I just want some money. And we live in a capitalist society. If you want some money, you have to get a job. Hey, I accept that. I will do whatever stupid bullshit you will pay me to do. But don't make me go through this whole humiliating kabuki theater ritual of telling you why I want the job. Because I don't. I do have a job. I teach English as a second language.
Yeah.
I have a lot of Chinese students. A lot of them have had English classes before, back in China, but I don't know if you know this, if you take English classes in China, you don't learn American English, you learn British English. And I can always tell because, you know, mostly it's the same, but there's a few words that are just a little bit different. For example, instead of a teacher, they call me a cunt. Subtle differences, but you can pick up. A lot of people say, oh, we gotta get our kids' test scores up, we gotta get our kids excited about science and math, because our kids need to compete with China and India. And I just think that ship has sailed, man. Americans have no interest in competing with China and India. We certainly have no interest in studying science and math. Yeah, Americans want to major in philosophy, comparative religion, maybe improv. That's about where we are right now. You hear people say that Latino immigrants do the jobs that Americans won't do. I don't agree. I think Asians do the jobs Americans won't do. Because if I was broke enough, if I was hungry enough, yeah, I'd pick grapes for 12 hours. You do what you gotta do. But there is nothing in the world that would make me put in the effort to get an engineering degree. No interest in that. Did you guys go see Straight Outta Compton? Yeah. Did they have security at the theater? I had read that they were going to have like extra security at all the theaters showing Straight Outta Compton last weekend, which is kind of weird, I think. It doesn't really make sense because the people most likely to shoot up a theater are young white guys. And the people most likely to go see a movie about 80s gangster rap are middle-aged white guys. But I guess all white guys look alike to these racist fucks. Born a suspect. In Obama's America. I've been listening to K-Day a lot lately, the rap station. And, there's a lot of rap lyrics you can't play on the radio, so they'll bleep them. I heard this one coming over here. It said, I got 2 bags of bleep, get you acting retarded. I think you bleeped the wrong word, K-Day. I'm okay with the weed. I don't... Imagine somebody listening to a rap station like, wait a minute. Was that a marijuana reference? That is unacceptable. Yeah. The other thing that's interesting about K-Day, if you're used to listening to K-Rock and KLOS and whatever, the commercial breaks are very different on K-Day. Like, every commercial break is payday loans and crooked lawyers and get-rich-quick schemes. Hey, learn how to flip houses. It's all, like, every commercial, they're just trying to scam poor people out of their last few dollars. And it's like watching a horror movie to listen to these commercials, because they'll say, do you need cash today? Do you own a car? If you own your car, we can put cash in your hand today, even if you don't have it paid off. If you have the title to your car, we can put cash in your hand today. And you're listening to this going, no, don't do it, it's a trap! They're gonna take your car! It's a rough time for race relations in America. A lot of racial tension. But, we don't really like to admit it. There's a lot of things that people won't say publicly. So it kind of comes out in very weird ways. Like, for example, I've noticed white people really, really hate Kanye West. I said, no, Kanye's an asshole. I'm not saying that. But I mean, people that hate him, like, they hate him. Like, there's something going on there. Like, white people in 2015 hate Kanye West the way white people in 1965 hated Martin Luther King. Like, it's that intense. Yeah, last time I told that joke, someone came up to me after, was like, well, I don't know, I mean, did white people really hate Martin Luther King? Come on. And I'm like, well, we shot him. That seems like a pretty strong vote of no confidence to me. But yeah, it's really getting bad in America. And I'm glad all this stuff is finally coming to the surface. One thing, the report, the Justice Department put out the report earlier this year on the Ferguson Police Department. And it was like really bad. Like they basically came out and said they were running an extortion racket. They were targeting black citizens. They were using the company email to email racist jokes to each other. And a lot of people were really shocked by how racist some of the jokes were that these cops were emailing. And I think the people that were shocked maybe don't have relatives who are cops. You don't get the, oh, it's another Ford from Cousin Jimmy, the state trooper. Can't wait to see what he has to say about Obama this week. But it's funny, I get in arguments with my conservative relatives about this, and they just have a completely different understanding of these stories. Like they aren't even seeing the same story that we're seeing. Like you ask them about what happened in Ferguson, what happened in Baltimore, and they think it's all about Al Sharpton. Just Al Sharpton going down there getting everyone riled up over nothing. It's because Al Sharpton's a racist. Yeah, see, Al Sharpton gets all bent out of shape anytime a white cop kills a black man. But black drug dealers kill black men every day in Chicago, and Al Sharpton don't say a damn thing about it because he's a racist. Okay, but we're not actually paying the drug dealers to I feel like that's an important distinction. Here's another difference I've noticed. When a drug dealer kills someone, they go to jail. I feel like that changes the context a little bit. But you talk to him, it's just Al Sharpton, it's all about Al Sharpton. Like they seem to think Al Sharpton is a very important political leader in America. And I think the only other person that thinks that is Al Sharpton. For everyone else, Al Sharpton is equestrian in Trivial Pursuit, the 90s. So it's Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson and Louis Farrakhan. Like, whoa, why are you bringing up Louis Farrakhan? I haven't even heard his name since the 90s. He's like the Smash Mouth of black actors. Another argument I got in with one of my conservative friends is he was saying, well, white people should be allowed to use the N-word. Because black people use the N-word all the time. No one seems to have a problem with it. It's the same word. Why shouldn't we be allowed to use it? I don't really agree. I think context matters. Context changes the meaning of a word. Like if you say shaft is a bad motherfucker, that is not the same thing as if you say Oedipus is a bad motherfucker. Slightly different meaning, depending on the context. I moved out to LA from Georgia, from the South, and the South has a reputation for being racist, and it's earned, no doubt. I'm not trying to take that away, but I think LA can be just as racist as the South sometimes. It's just that it's a little different. In the South, racism is very simple. It's very easy to understand. It's black and white, like literally. That's all there is, black and white. In LA, you've got so many different kinds of people that racism just kind of gets confusing. Like when I first moved in, our landlady, little old lady, she had a persimmons tree in her yard, and she told me, "Oh yeah, the Orientals love the persimmons." But I won't let them pick them because those Orientals, if they fall, they'll be the first ones to sue you. Wow, there is a lot going on in that center. Those Orientals, they are some litigious, fruit-loving bastards. Fucking Orientals. Although I will say this, last week I had a strange incident. I went grocery shopping, I came home, I went to turn onto my street, but the LAPD had the street blocked off. So I asked them, can I get in? I got all these groceries, I just got to put my groceries away. And they said, no. There's a crazy woman waving a gun around. She's barricaded herself in the house. We're going to have to evacuate this whole street, so you got to just go wait somewhere. Okay, so I pulled down, just a couple blocks down, parked on the side of the road, and sat there. Meanwhile, the LAPD started coming, about 20 or 30 LAPD cars. 3 SWAT vans with the battering ram and the tear gas and the riot gear and all. And it really became clear to me in that moment how quickly I lose my liberal values when I am inconvenienced. Because after about half an hour, I wanted to go up to one of the cops and say, look, can you just shoot this bitch already? Got milk in the car. I mean, this is LAPD. We all know how this is going to end. I'm just saying, let's cut to the chase. I know, she's got rights, but I've got ice cream. How are we doing here? Alright. I'll tell you something a little personal about myself. I'm not mechanical. I don't have a mechanical mind. I'm just... even when I was a kid, when I was playing with Legos, I'd want to build a spaceship, and I could see it in my mind perfectly. I knew exactly what it was going to look like, but I could never, my brain just doesn't work that way. I could not figure out how to go from this pile of bricks to that spaceship. And one day I had this idea in my head for a battle cruiser with all these guns, and I worked really hard, put all the Legos together, and when I was done, it was basically like a big rectangular box with all this stuff sticking out at right angles. And then my friend came over, and he started making spaceships. He made 3 fighters and a bomber. And not only did they all look awesome, but there was a consistent design aesthetic throughout the fleet. They all looked like they belonged together. And I'm just here with this fucking box. Very, very frustrating. There was another time in my 5th grade class, we did a production of The Wizard of Oz. And the teacher said, okay, well, for the wizard, we need like a ball of fire. So I was thinking we'll have like some kind of beach ball with the light shining through it. It would look really cool. Does anyone want to make that? I was like, oh yeah, I'll do that. I can make that. And it was in the gifted class, so it had this teacher for several years at this point. So he said, yeah, but are you really going to do it, Chris? No, I'm going to do it. I had this whole, I could see it so perfectly, the beach ball with the light. And I was like, I'll be like this cool special effects guy. And I went to the store. I got a beach ball that had like an orange and red swirling design on it. And I got the flashlight. I took it home, went into my room to build the thing. And like I tried taping the flashlight to the back. It falls off. I'm trying all these different positions, how to mount the flashlight, but I could not fucking figure out how to make this happen. And finally, I just got some blinky Christmas lights and wrapped them around the ball and set it on a chair, brought it into class, and the teacher is like, so that's our ball of fire, huh, Chris? That's what we're going with. Okay. Here's another thing. This is something you hear comics say a lot. Comics talk about strippers have daddy issues. Right? So it's like something everyone says, but no one ever really thought about, because stripping, that's just a job, and it's a job that pays pretty well, doesn't require any training, any education, flexible hours. But this is the only job where we've come up with like a psychological profile to explain why anyone would do it. And it doesn't even seem to me like that should be the job, right? That we pathologize. Like there's other jobs that are like, what about people that join the military? Like really, you have your choice of this job, which involves people shooting at you, or every other job in the world where nobody shoots at you. And you were like, yeah, this looks like a good career path for me. Like, what are their issues? That's what I want. But we have all these kind of weird ideas about different jobs. There's certain professions that we've just decided everyone who does that job is an asshole. Like lawyers. Right? Oh, lawyers are assholes. Where does that come from? Because like if I get arrested, I'm not a fucking lawyer. And really, I want him to be an asshole. I think this must come from rich people. Because poor people, that's the only time you ever have to deal with a lawyer. But, when you have to talk to the public defendant or whatever. But rich people, they're like, man, my factory dumped a bunch of toxic waste into the drinking supply. And now these fucking lawyers to make a federal case out of it. I hate those cocksuckers. Politicians is another one. Like when you ever having a political argument, you've always got that one friend that thinks they're just above politics. Man, you're so naive, man. It's all just bullshit. It doesn't matter if it's Republicans, Democrats. All politicians are just liars and scumbags. All politicians, all of them are just liars and scumbags. But I think even that is kind of bullshit. Because the truth is, politicians are us. Right? We're the pool from which politicians are drawn. And the truth is, we're just not that great. No. I mean, I would like to think if I was a congressman and Monsanto came to me and said, we will give you $5 million if you change your vote on this bill, I would like to think that I would say, my integrity is not for sale. You may leave my office now. My vote stands. But the truth is, I'd probably do it for a Frappuccino and a donut. So I'm not that great. You ever just look at your watch like, oh man, I got another 40 years of this shit. I think it's interesting that the first Bible story we teach to children is the story of Noah's Ark. This is the story about that one time when God got really mad and decided to kill everyone on the face of the earth because men were sinful. Everyone, every child, every grandma, every baby drowned because men were sinful. And not just the people, all the animals too. Remember, God saved 2 of every animal. That means all the rest drowned. Every puppy dog, every kitty cat, every bunny rabbit drowned. Because men were sinful. Not a great bedtime story. Some people painted on the wall of their nursery. I just want my children to have a daily reminder that they're being watched over by a genocidal psychopath. Who at any moment might just wipe us all out. Yeah, it's crazy. Don't say anything. He can hear you. Just nod if you understand. I also like, there's this little punchline at the end of the story where after the flood, Noah sees a rainbow. And God says, let this rainbow be a symbol of my promise to you, that I will never again kill everyone on the face of the earth. With water. And everyone agrees that's what it means, right? It's fire next time. And I think what might have happened is, just as the floodwaters were starting to recede, God thought he saw some of the fish smirking. Oh, you're not getting out of the studies, I'll burn this whole motherfucker to the ground next time. Fucking fish. Alright, can we get serious here for a minute? Let's address the elephant in the room. Let's just talk some real shit here, because no one else has the guts to say it. I'm just going to come right out and say it right now, right here. We don't need the letter C. We got S, we got K, it's fucking covered, dude. You know I'm right. There is no reason why our children should grow up having to memorize 26 letters when there should be 23 at most. Come on, X, that's KS. Fuck you. I'm sick of it! I'm sick of it. All the other letters are trying to have a serious phonetic system, and C is just acting like the whole thing is a goddamn circus, which, by the way, should be spelled